Okay, all of my rafters are crowned that way. 5/12, so 5 on the common scale. I'm going to mark that. Hook the top. 2053 is our number. 2053. Parallel. 5/12 on the common. I'm marking 10 inches. I'm going square for my level or seat cut. Now for the tail. I have 16 3/4 to the outside of my subfascia, and my subfascia is 1.5 inches. So 16-inch soffit plus 1/2 inch sheeting plus I wanted 1/4 inch for play. 5/12. Line it up there. And then I'm going to rip my tail 5 inches. And the reason for the 5 inches is because when I'm flush with the top on the outside, I want to make sure that my tail is above that. Now, so that I can get scrap out of this for my ridge blocks, 22 7/16. I'm going to mark that right now. Okay, so that is ready for ridge blocks, tails cut. Giddy up. I'm going to set this aside. Okay, so now what I'm actually cutting, I have a 3.5 inch beam and then they're going to sit in hangers. So what I'm going to do is I am going to give myself just a little bit of play. So I am 3.5 inches parallel, but I'm actually going to cut the other side of the square. Oh, come on, man. Come on, man. I'm actually going to cut this line so I have a little bit of play, and then I'm going to be sitting in the hangers. Right there. Next time I wouldn't cut this, but I just wanted to demonstrate how to cut the bird's mouth. Okie doke.
We want to test that one before we cut 37 of them. Let's go.
That's not a bad idea. Yeah. Yeah, basically, if we bring it up, we'll slam it against the gable. See how it looks. Slam it against that gable. See how it looks. That gable and then that gable. Yeah, we might as well.
It is a little bit longer, but...
Yeah. Yeah, let's do that. A little late for an intro, but welcome back to the channel, everybody. We are just about to start cutting the roof. Kyle and Noah are going to be outside cutting all of the common rafters. Since it's one-person work, I'm inside cutting the rafter that I just demonstrated. These ones have no tails. They're going to sit in hangers. So I'm going to go ahead and cut my bird blocks out of it, which we'll rip later. Kyle's suggestion was, let's go ahead and test our pattern rafter. So normally, we would, well, not even normally, what we always do, I guess that's still technically the same thing. So normally, what we always do every time is we measure our top plates on the rake wall once the ridge is set, and just double check that it's centered and that the number's the same. It was, let's go ahead and just cut a pattern and test it, so that's what we're about to do. Now remember, this is the first time that we're framing a roof, a hand-cut roof, as a crew. So there's going to be lots of education throughout this video. Hey, you're right in the way of my camera, dude.
I'm trying not to be in the way.
That's okay. That is okay. It's real life. I mean, it's real life. It's like, it's as real as reality TV.
Yeah.
Right? It's like the Kardashians. 100% real.
Exactly like the Kardashians. That's gonna be annoying. It's so annoying.
Okay, and this guy is marked. I know, it's like, we put all these rafters right in your way.
It's like everything's right in my way. Oh, I know. This take a while.
Yeah. Do you,
Strength.
here, do this, Noah. Let me teach you how to carry these.
I don't want to tip on its side.
Here,
Yeah.
carry it like this. Look, I can even do the running man.
Every time I tried that, I felt like I would lose balance so good.
You're even taller than me.
Extension ladders where you gotta like go to the outside and carry it on your shoulder. Someone taught me that, and I was like, oh, that's smart.
Well, the good news is, Noah, you made it look as hard as it possibly can look.
And still did.
And yeah.
I mean, we could have like loaded some stuff onto them.
I
Yeah.
still remember being shown how to carry an extension ladder that way. You know, lean it against your shoulder. Well, in
Yeah,
that case,
block
left
is
hand at the
ugly.
bottom. Anyway, you know the point. So here's some background. 2x12 rafters, 20 footers. We could not find or source Doug fir 20-foot 2x12 for this job. So they found some hem fir, which was plenty strong for the spans, but was a nightmare to deal with. It was insane. Now I remember why we hated using it back in the day. The grain's so tight that it stops the saws, and it just was a little bit wonky. You guys have a lot of energy. So basically, Noah, he's going to be able to keep pressure on it. You'll just push it up to the ridge and against the gable.
I think you can probably move your ladder if you need.
Yeah, next time you're way too far away.
Yeah, I got it.
I remember those days, Noah. I'd get exhausted because I was never in the right spot.
Just go ahead and put it on your mark.
Just shove it all the way against the gable wall.
Up higher, higher.
Kyle's going to have all the weight.
Yeah, I got it.
So now you just push it against the gable, and you'll have to go up. I'll move it for you. No, I'll show you where we want it to be.
For some reason, I thought we were going to the layout mark. That's why I put it there.
No, we're going to test them against the gable.
That's makes.
And I'm just going to go ahead and climb up there. So that's my fault. I should have been more clear with the guys where we were going to start. Second, those 12-foot tripod ladders and 10-foot tripod ladders are the bee's knees. Way more stable. Way more stable. Now notice where my feet are at. That's right. That's legal. Nice and legal. Stable. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah, man. It's really early in the morning here. We're starting work a little late because it's super cold outside. So a lot of times, Noah, I'll go high. What I'm going to do, Kyle, is just check mine. And once mine's good, then we know for sure where yours is at. I'm pretty good. I could come up a hair.
I got maybe an 8.
How about the top?
Top, we're like money.
So as long as we match the top plate of the rake wall, that is all I care about.
Great.
Then while I'm here, I'm going to mark the heel.
Oh yeah.
And now, here's how we'll take it down. I'm going to go up, and if you go down to Noah. Yep, just go straight down. Yeah, now nobody has to hold it. So I'm going to write this down, you guys. Just in case we choose to do this, that's 4 5/8.
4 5/8.
Yeah, just in case. Yeah, 4 5/8. I'm going to write it here. 4 and 10. Just in case we snap a line along the bottom because of that kind of wow down there. All right, look at that. Did you see that spin move?
Oh, it's gonna tip back on.
Okay, so see how close I am to the wall? That's about where you want to be. At least I think. But this time, if you carry the rafter to Kyle, if he's up here, then I would put the top against the beam, walk over here with the tail, and hand it up to him, because he can shoot it over the top. He has the most stable, and then you can shimmy up.
Okay.
That make sense?
I remember it being, because I remember we did this.
Yeah, and like this guy's going to be right in your walking path.
I didn't realize because I'm already against it.
Right? Like, what is that thing? So when you take this guy down, I'll just show you. Because I am the preeminent donkey. Normally I would control the descent better, but I'm just not strong enough. So if you carry it on your shoulder, see, now it's held. I'm barely even holding it. I got it.
There it is.
Now you can climb the ladder.
Okay.
I'm just out of breath for no reason.
Shoulder pumps out.
Yeah, once we get this crap out of the way, it'll be a little easier. Normally I would make that look a little easier, but I'm actually currently having some shoulder issues. Nothing major, but I think I need to see a physical therapist. I just, above my shoulders, I'm just weak. Below my waist, I'm crazy strong though. Now, because the soffit framing, it can't fall down, Noah.
Beauty.
So are you smooth at the top, Noah?
No.
Specifically, I was talking about my quads and glutes, in case you were wondering. And be,
This thing has got a good crown to that.
Yeah, that's what it is.
so let's ignore the crown.
Then yeah, I'm good.
Watch your hammer. All part of the learning process. All we care about is it perfect at the bird's mouth and is it perfect at the top? If it has a crown, that's okay. We can fix that. I'll show you that in the future.
It's just like I was looking right here.
Okay, let me hop up there real quick. Yeah, I mean, cutting them a little on the short side, we've just learned over time, it's always best just to cut them a little small since we're cutting outside the lines. Ooh, look how pretty that is. Yeah, and the crown, we can screw that or... Yeah, what do you got to the heel there, Noah?
That is 4 and 9. Or no, 4 and 5/8. Perfect.
Not bad. That's actually a little tighter than I would have wanted at the tail. But that's fine. If we have to trim him, he's going to have time because we're going to be... I don't know that I would bother testing it down here.
I think we're solid.
I think you're good.
I think that was good.
Yeah. Here, let's, except for those 3 shiners. We always blame the guy that's not here. Clearly that was Shane.
I was gonna say, Greg.
Just put a board over it.
Oh, you can't even see him. Man, it is beautiful. Okay, so we are ready to start cutting rafters. We always test one. Because basically we're going to frame it to the rake walls. We're not going to go to the math at this point because if there's any mistakes on the rake walls, well, we got to match the rake walls. Right, Noah?
Correct.
So where Noah's at up above, zoom in. Okay, so we're nice and planed across the top. And where Kyle's at here, as he just rolls around. Oh man, looks like somebody's been influenced. Nice. Oh, wow.
Look, we're twinning.
Whoa.
Look, we're twinning.
Wow, okay. My six-pack was a little inflated there. Anyway, so now it's tested. We'll probably just knock down the little screw there, and that's it. Time to start cutting rafters. Hey guys, let's make some sawdust, okay?
All right, let's get this down first.
Oh yeah, here, I'll film you guys lowering it.
So it goes down on his side.
If you just go straight down with it,
Like if I pick it up.
yeah, he'll go out over his gable. One thing I would like to point out, and again, it's my fault for not training. Noah should be on the step that he's currently on, not on that next step up. We've all done it. We've all done it way too often. But just teach your guys to be legal on the ladders. I left it in there. This is why, Noah, it will be a whole lot easier when there's 3 of us, because we can trade off. Nicely done. So that's my fault too. I should have taught Noah 3 points of contact going up and down a ladder. He should not have carried that down the ladder. So that's my fault. Make sure you train your crews, because nobody needs to get injured, and ladders are inherently dangerous. Okay, so while the guys, now that we know the pattern fits, and what I was referring to earlier is that when we cut the pattern, because we're going to mark basically outside of all those cuts on the pattern, it's usually best to take the lines or cut on the inside of those lines to shorten the rafter. Everything else is going to grow just slightly. It's not a lot, but it is enough to matter oftentimes. My job at this point is just to go ahead and cut, I don't know, it's like 10, 12 rafters, whatever it is. I can't do the math there, but is that all it was? Anyway, you could do the math. You could just hit pause and count. This is easy one-person work. I'm throwing all the scrap toward the front window, because from that front window, we'll throw it down to our little dump truck. Nothing real rocket science-y about this. It's just you're trying to minimize your movement, so you can see I'm not manhandling those rafters any more than I absolutely have to. Also, there is a link in the description to those sawhorses. That particular sawhorse, you can see it's Weyerhaeuser Diamond. Long story on that one. But that's a similar subfloor to Advantech. We had some extra, again, long story. If those were Advantech or the Diamond or the LP Legacy subfloor, those are all premium subfloors. They will last outside for a long time. Those sawhorses are 3 years old. They're outside 100% of the time, but they're the Jackass sawhorses. Edster Jackass on Instagram, designed it. Just go buy the kit from Ed. Kick him a few bucks, because these are the best sawhorses I have ever used. About every 3 years. At this point, it's not even going to be that often. We first made it out of commodity OSB, and they lasted about 2 years. These are 3 and going strong. I think I got at least 3 years more in them. It's nice inside work. Make like 6 sets. Anyway, I'm belaboring that point. Go check it out in the description. At this point, so remember, I am cutting out the blocking. I'm going to show you in the next video a very productive way to get all of your bird blocks cut. And I'll explain in more detail what the whole principle is behind the blocks at the ridge, as well as the bird blocks. All right? Oh, it's time for me to go. Oh, hey, check out those moves. This is a great way to keep your knees loose, your hips loose. Look at the shoulder action. Would you believe that there's probably no music in my IsoTunes free? But you can't guess what song I'm dancing to? Any guesses? No song. Dancing to my own beat.
I tell you what, when I go through this footage like months later, I like never remember what actually. I'm sorry.
Maybe a little bit of Liz Lemon in there.
I bet the other construction channels you follow don't have such amazing choreography. All right, I had another appointment. I was out of there. So the guys, we're not gang cutting these. I really wanted the guys to get practice laying out Birdsmouth, cutting with a pattern, learning how to work together so that they can do this efficiently. This was something like 37 or 38 rafters total. I think 38 including the pattern, and then plus the ones I had there. In the next video, we're going to get into production cutting the blocking, and then we're just going to keep rolling through the roof. Or keep cutting. Oh, by the way, notice that Kyle, as he's cutting the Birdsmouth, he's saving all of those pieces and putting them on the stair landing. We're going to use those. Thank you, everybody, for following along and watching. I really do appreciate it. Hit that like and subscribe button if you feel like it, and we will see you in the next video.